think that's a good idea. The majority of people that are setting their eyes on their IP right now are doing it through the MCU. This is exactly what DC should be doing. It should be an entire product. I'm not just selling you a movie. I'm selling you an entire world. That's what Walt Disney did this better than anybody. And he laid the groundwork for what I think DC should, Marvel has already done it to a good extent, and they're just continuing it here. But DC really looks to him, and Roy Disney and Walt Disney wrote the blueprint for what DC needs to be. And don't just sell you a ride. Don't just sell you, a comic book character. Sell them a world, and that's what Marvel does, and Marvel being in DC now. I mean, I could see it, but they were doing that prior to that, and that's what DC needs to be.
Welcome to Marvel Comics HQ, where you can find all things related to your favorite Marvel stories. We're talking, and this is we're starting they're also starting a podcast now. We're talking weekly comics updates, and this is pretty much what I'm saying.
What a novel idea!
Yeah, this is what you're saying about let's do the Jim and Jim show with DC. So,
these guys are listening to our show.
Yeah, they just said, okay, let's apply this to Marvel. Weekly comic updates, Wednesday Warriors. Oh, Wednesday, interesting day, of course. We're reading and reacting along with you every week. Reading Rex, the vast Marvel universe can be hard to navigate, so we're here to help. Behind the scenes content, how do comics get made? We've got the all access pass to the writers, artists, and editors who build the house of ideas, news, new titles, new art, new plot lines. Stop! Yeah. I'm starting to wonder. It's like
I can't take it anymore.
I'm starting to wonder, like, have they been watching and said, let's take this idea?
Read no more. I can pretty much tell you what's going to happen in the rest of this article. Because it all makes sense. And you guys can listen. I'm not saying that these guys are ever watching my show. Maybe they're one of the new subscribers. I don't know. But this sounds awful familiar.
Very familiar. Just swap which company it's about.
The names are everything that they're doing is the right answer. On Wednesday, behind the scenes, access to these people. But people were telling me, well, that's too much, and they would never do that. Fanboy, because fanboys are just fans. This is what happens when you can't realize that your fanboy forehead doesn't fit through the fucking doorway all the time. that when you want to sell something, this is what you need to do. Just reading that. Just read it to yourself in my voice. Because that's basically what we were doing for the past year and a half now. Anyone within the sound of my voice, any platform, whether it be on Poindexter Lounge, whether it be on the Vodka stream, here, I'm on record months ago, almost years ago. I have said this over and over again, that the way they've handled things has been absolutely abysmal, and we laid it out in steps. There's an episode, I'll go back and find it. There's an episode that literally reads like this. And as a matter of fact, I know these mofos were on that episode. I'm not going to take credit for your idea because it makes sense. This is what you do. And Marvel doesn't have anywhere. I mean, they're using all their assets. Marvel is on the same similar financial or same corporate structure is
pretty much
management.
Yeah, really. Like as I'm reading down that list, I'm like, oh yeah, this is like.
You're starting to hear my voice. You're starting to hear my Kermit the Frog voice reciting.
Pretty much. Well, and the last one I didn't get off before is they're just kind of having fun here. It's like fun stuff in our best JJJ voice. We're here to bring you pictures of Spider-Man. So, which obviously that's not saying, but that's adding a little fun. RJ says, well, he also asks, do you like the new comics logo? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, though. I kind of I missed for years when they had like Marvel and they had comics in cursive underneath of it. I don't know. I kind of grew up with that. So that is something.
Yeah, but that's cool. I mean, I remember when it was just the word Marvel and Spider-Man hit Spider-Man's face. Man. Here's the thing, though. Once again, the majority of people who will ever connect with a Marvel comic book character will do so through the movies. So why don't you exploit that? Why do you think I have an ad seat on TV section in my store? You have to make this connection because it won't always be this way. Somewhere down the line, the comic and graphic novel market might swing back again, while the movie situation takes a little bit of a dive. But because you've marketed it all in unison, you are redundant. You have so many ways to make money. I feel like I'm listening to myself talk again because we said this shit. And I'm a dummy. All All right. When you compare me to all the people who have worked at DC studios and whatever, these people have hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in educations. They have people below them and around them, next to them, that are highly educated and went to school for this. Went to school to come up with ideas. And compared to them, I'm a moron. Yet everything you just read, somebody's like, whoa, wow, why don't we market ourselves by using everything we have at our disposal on Wednesday, and we connect it all together. If you're coming through the movies, guess what? You're going to end up in the comics. And if you're coming in through the comics, you're going to end up in the movies. How many times have I said that? How has DC not done this? How is the company that really needs to do it more? Because right now, your DCU is a crapshoot. You got as much chance of failure as you do of any type of success. If there's anybody who needed to do this, the MCU is, you can crack at it and say it's mediocre, whatever. It's like I said, its worst day is better than what DC's ever had. They don't even need to do this. Not as much as DC does. So thank you, Marvel Studios, for listening to the show. But yeah, podcast. Wow. In 2024, wow, what did I do?
Well, and Ray is definitely Ray is on board with that. Yeah, the Jim and Jim show is Williams' kind of the working title he suggested.
And I was on the Vodka stream, and I had one particular person that was telling me, "Nah, you're crazy" and all that. But the rest of that Vodka stream was like going along with. They understood. Like I said, I can't believe that DC hasn't done this yet, especially with the. Listen. If you're going to get behind James Gunn, whether you believe in James Gunn or not, that's not going to mean shit if nobody else does. If you made the connection, if you got some fanboys who made a connection, and Guardians of the Galaxy means he can do everything, he can platinum. That doesn't mean everybody else is going to think that. And you need to make them understand that. If you want somebody to believe in what you're doing, you have to start talking to them. And you have to start doing it over a long period of time, not just when the movie's coming out.
RJ wants he says he sent me a description. He says he says I should go and read this off. He says you're gonna freak out, and yeah, I can already tell you are. Again, this is just adding fuel to the fire. So Marvel has officially announced the official Marvel podcast. Marvel stars and creators will be on this podcast to reveal exclusive surprises and talk comics, games, films, TV shows, and more. Kevin Feige will be one of the guests and will release new episodes every Wednesday starting on June 26th. Okay, I guess William needed to compose himself for a minute here.
Now, eerily familiar, correct? They stole my idea, which is fine. I was willing to give it to DC. I gave you this idea for free.
Yeah. RJ saying Marvel was for free.
You didn't have to pay. You paid millions to these consultant firms and these ad agencies and all these other guys. I gave you exactly what they're doing for free a year ago. And don't make me go back and start putting together all the
shit the rant last night.
It's not even rant. This is what are you doing? You let them beat you to everything. You created the multiverse. True. You created the multiverse. Now you can't even use that term anymore because some company that came 25 years after you did and wasn't even in existence when you created the multiverse now has dominated that verb. So now here we go again. Everything that DC needs and Marvel doesn't really need to do. I mean, it's an improvement. You can only go up. How would you? If Marvel's listening to me and Brad, hey, you don't even have to admit you got it from me, okay? Listen, Marvel's not going to ever admit that they stole our shit, and I'm okay with it. Good idea is a good idea. I'm going to repost this. Say, guys, listen, I'm going to tag him. I'm like, listen, you motherfucker, you stole my shit. I didn't mind because I wasn't looking for compensation, but you know it, and I'm going to tag Zazoff, and I'm like, you needed to steal my shit. The guy who made off like a bandit, they're doing fine. You need this. You need to reinforce if you want this DCU to succeed. You can't be doing it to just traditional ways. And I keep saying that. And everybody's like, well, we don't want overexposure and they can't do that. Nobody has the time. It's going to be too expensive because fanboy logic is dominant over everything. That's what listen, DC is thinking like fanboys, which is why they haven't had the success that they needed to. And I have nothing against fanboys. I am one. But when it's time to turn the key on an office door or pop a cash register, you need to sit fanboy down, and the guy who's running needs to run. This all makes sense. And every time I brought it up, and like I said, more and more, the more I brought it up, you start hearing people that were against it be like, you know what, that's actually a good idea. It's actually a good idea because it is a good idea. And like I said, and it's the people who are against it saying you can't do that. They don't. They're programming. If it was such an outlandish idea, why the hell is Marvel Comics doing exactly what I said? We're gonna listen. Vince, I know you're in here. I know you're good at finding. Find all this. You find what I'm telling you. And then we want to play this article, and we're rolling. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, William is like it isn't just any one stream. William said this. I mean, he mentioned this on the Vodka stream.
If they were to, again, like what we were talking about, like we've talked about it before on here, is the fact that it's like, hey, if you really want to get DC back up to par, it's like, do a weekly web series, somebody doing a host or something like that, where you're talking about the comic book that come out. You do the updates. You do the updates on the movie, and James Gunn chimes in. He fucking zooms in on a screen for a little bit. It's pre-recorded. You can have just stuff like that. And then if
that sounds like every Wednesday.
Yeah,
because we did a whole show on this. Jim and Jim, either Jim Lee and Jim Gunn, and have all these people coming in every level of DC, not just the movies. Because if you're relying on the movies to bring DC back, that ship's already at the bottom of the ocean.
No,
so
you can't do that. You have to be. It has to be web based. There has to be more because I saw a statistic. I saw a statistic this week that YouTube is now like outshining even Netflix when it comes to just watching, even on TV. And then Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, is going to have their own version of like a TV as well. That's going to be like rival what YouTube is doing. So that's why. Yeah, so like when it comes to like just doing series or doing just stuff like this, I mean, there's just like you have to capitalize on that if you want to keep. You can't just post things post things, sure, and everybody's going to talk about it. But guess what? YouTube channels like this one, like a lot of them, are going to be talking about it. So why not just capitalize on being taking the DC YouTube channel and going, all right, let's pump in some money with this. Let's get some people that are involved in this. We could do a weekly thing.
This actually costs you nothing, Dave, because when we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago,
that's what I was trying to get to.
People are under your employee. So if you have writers that you want, like Tom King, anybody you want to bring up, you have them working for you right now.
Already.
Every Wednesday morning, you got comics that hit the main stores, right? You should be talking about that. The Funkos, everything to do with DC should be for about an hour. And then what that does is it just gives them momentum and keeps the scoopers and all that at bay because you're getting it from the horse's mouth. So I
one of the things
want to promote the brand. You want to reignite the brand and make it a positive thing instead of, oh God, it's DC. Well, I don't know how this is going to go.
Which is where we're at right now. Because I even named it for him. I named it for him, Jim and Jim, because Jim Lee should be the constant. I understand that James Gunn is going to be doing stuff all the time, but you can zoom in like you said, but Jim and Jim. And what it is because if you wait until closing in on July 2025 to start getting people to trust your brand, you've basically fucked Superman, no matter how good it is. You have to build up that momentum and the benefit of the doubt. When you build that, people give you, sometimes you can sell people, but if you sold them gold and you've given them good stuff all the way up to that, they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt. And right now it's you're getting cryptic posts here and announcements here, and it's getting lost unless you're a top tier nerd. A lot of people are just not going to care.